Hi everyone, my name is Beri Gerwise and I'm here with the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press, and today I am so happy to be joined by Beri Gerwise. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm happy to hear you're doing all good over there in Sweden. Tell me, how
Yeah.
has this past year and a half been for you? I know you've been busy, so we'll talk about
Yeah.
some of those things later. But just in
Yeah.
terms of keeping safe and kind of sane during
Yeah.
these times.
Yeah. Well, actually, I when like the COVID breakout came to Sweden, we were in quarantine because I think like my girlfriend was in contact with one of the few first cases in Stockholm, because she had sat on a train, and she had heard the girl behind her say that I'm just coming home from Italy and I think I got corona, you know. And so we called the in Sweden it's called Folkhälsomyndigheten, but it's like the WHO. And we told them, and they were like, okay, I think you have to quarantine. That would be the safest thing. So we were in quarantine, and that was quite okay for us. It wasn't such like it wasn't hard at that time, but we were hearing the crazy stories about other countries that were like in lockdown for real, because we could still like go and buy groceries and stuff. So that was still like open and free. But I think it's been just like a side note, we actually got corona later, and my entire family actually also got it. But everyone's been safe, everyone's good now. But I think it's been like scary just seeing like people as a number, and that just being higher and higher, because I think it's scary to see how we can like dehumanize people in that way, that they're just numbers. That like, how many cases are there today? Like, these are people that we're talking about. So it's been like that perspective has been quite crazy to wrap my head around. Other than that, it has been a crazy time, and such a crazy weird time to do all the things we have done. But I think we did it the best way possible. And yeah, I think hoping that this will last now, that it's open again and everything is going back to normal.
Yeah, some kind of new normal, but I'm happy to hear that you
Yeah.
and your family are back and healthy. And it's definitely
Yeah.
like an eye-opening experience, as you mentioned, numbers,
Yeah.
like everyone's kind of a statistic now. But
Yeah.
um, like I wanted to start off in terms of talking about your arts. What can you share about your background and when you knew you had that love for performing?
Well, I actually started writing like as a, not really poetry. I would still say I was writing like in a, I was thinking like rap flow when I was writing. But I didn't have like I didn't have a studio, I didn't have the beats for it or anything. So I was just like, writing, you know. And that was when I was like 13, 14. I think I started with that. And then I went to school one day, and I had a friend that like knew that we have a youth center that have just like installed the studio. So that was like my first introduction to a studio. So I went with her, and um, the guy that was like controlling the computer and everything was like, hey, you should go in the booth and just try, just say something, just so you can hear your voice. I was like, okay, oh my god, this is so cool. So I tried it, and I actually I started like rapping a Nicki Minaj song, I think it was, just to like hear myself, you know. And I was kind of hooked. How weird it was, weird to hear my voice like that, but I was also like kind of hooked to the process, you know, writing something, recording it, and it actually being like a file that I could listen to myself, like in my phone. So I was like hooked on that art form of writing and distributing that to like whoever wants to listen. So I think my goal was always to like just if only one person listens to this, that's it, that's all I need. Because that was the main thing for me listening to other artists, was like, we're connecting to this lyric that you wrote and you don't even know me, but somehow this has touched me. So I think that that was kind of the impact I was looking to have on someone. So I think, yeah, it started early, and then it like transcended into me. Like I auditioned for like a contest that was like a rap contest for a young talent, and you could get the chance to be coached by an established artist in Sweden. So I actually won that, and I got to be coached by an artist in Sweden and a producer. So they had like the beat, and we went to Copenhagen to like the most fancy studio I've ever seen, and we recorded the song in under 24 hours. And then the main event of this contest was that you could or you would perform the song that you made in Kungsträdgården, which is like the biggest live outdoor place we have in Stockholm. So I did that, and from then on it just like kept on coming, like requests for live performances, and I started collaborating with other artists, and then eventually I made my own EP and then an album. So that was actually my background story before any other thing came in my way. So the music has always been like the center.
Wow, what a tremendous first experience, to
Yeah,
perform live and kind of get that opportunity to get the ball rolling. You
yeah,
mentioned like rap hip hop, so I know that music really connected with you.
yeah,
You channeled the pain of losing your mother, mental
yeah,
health, thoughts towards where you grew up into your art. So
yeah.
why these particular genres, and who were some other people early on that really mentored and inspired you?
I think the genre, I think hip hop and rap have like such a way of putting things um, that like it catches your attention in a way. And although I love listening to other genres, I'm not hooked on just my genre. It's still I don't know, it's so close to poetry in a way, and it has always just like sat so well with me, listening to a story being told in that form. um, and I think it just came natural, of course, for me to write about my own life. And when I was, as I said in the beginning, when I was writing in like a rap flow kind of way. So that was like, I think it just happened naturally for me to find that genre to be the most suiting for me. And I think also going back to another thing I said, that someone has written something that I can connect with. It was an artist in Sweden, is a rapper called Ken Ring, and he had one song called Mamma, which is mom in Swedish, and he actually lost his mother to cancer also, and I did also. So when I heard this song when I was like 12, this was 2 years after my mother passed. I was like, what? Someone is telling my story. This is so crazy. How do you know that? How do you know this? And I was just so like moved and touched by his way of honoring her, but also telling the story, and in like telling about the pain that he felt for this, this loss. So I think that was like inspiration, not really a mentor, because I've never like really actually sat down and talked to him. But some mentors have definitely been rap artists like Cleo, reggae artist Syster Sol, Broder John, and it was kind of like a collective in the beginning, where we had Fantastic, they were called. They don't exist anymore, but they're still active artists. And I quite like after the contest, because one of the coaches was Syster Sol. So she kind of like, she like what's it called, introduced me to Fantastic, and I learned so much from them, and all of my first live gigs were like with them. So they've seen me as a rookie, and really like growing up into whatever I am today.
I love that because, as you mentioned, it all kind of came from this competition that you were fortunate to be a
Yeah,
part of, and they can kind of see your growth, and then you get to
yeah,
spend time with them and just kind of see how they work in the industry. In
yeah.
terms of the Swedish rap hip hop scene, like, are there a lot of opportunities for female artists like yourself?
The year that I was in the contest, I think it was 2014, and that was like such a huge year for the women of hip hop. in Sweden. And I won't say that there haven't been any before, because they have been like legends. But I think that the mindset of it only being possible to have one, is just one queen, it has to be one on top. And I think that mindset just like crumbled in a way 2014 2015, because it was so many women that came together making songs together, and these songs were being like the biggest songs of the year. So I think we all just got to see what happens when we collaborate, what happens when we're together in this, when it's not a competition between me or her, or who's going to be the number one. Because honestly, I feel like I can't compete with anyone, because we're not doing the same thing. Maybe we're in the same genre, maybe we're like sometimes mentioning the same things because that's our reality, but at the same time you can never mimic what I'm doing to a dot, because I'm the only one living this. So I think that was a year of realization of this fact, that when we come together, we're stronger. And from that point, I think like every day, as much as I'm seeing like a new guy in hip hop, I'm also seeing a new girl in hip hop that's coming up on TikTok or on Instagram or whatever. So it's been like cool to be a part of that wave in a way. But also I think like the downside of it all was, and I've said this before, was that people in the industry were so hyped about this new wave and letting women in now, and kind of trying to fill like a is it called a quote? Trying to fill
like that quota.
Exactly. And so we were giving all kinds of like big festivals. We were playing at like the Way Out West in Gothenburg, and you just got so many opportunities that you normally you work, you build something up, and then you get these things. In this case, it was like we're amateurs, which is beautiful, but we haven't like prepared ourselves in no way whatsoever for these big things. So after that wave, when that wave died a little, I myself, I was lost, because I didn't know what's next for me now. What can I do now that I haven't done? So I think you, especially being so young, it can also be so confusing to get all these things so fast. So being a part of a wave like that in the beginning has also, it has its downsides, which everything has. But when I've reflected on it, and like now when I'm in my 20s, I can see that it kind of affected me in that way, that like first or second year of my career, I got to do the biggest things that were like on my bucket list for like in 10 years. I want to do this. I had already done that. So I think it's I think it has to do with like pressure. You put pressure on yourself to do bigger, to do better. So yeah.
I think that's so interesting the way you put it, that you kind of hit the high so early on in your career, and then it's kind of wondering, where do I go from here? And now you're learning that, this is kind of just what happened in the industry at that time, and now you just kind of accept your journey and what happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I maybe you're not there yet that you want to talk about this, but I just want to talk about like the acting and theater and like movies and stuff, because I think that also I got like a opportunity to be in like I had a small part in a Swedish TV series on our like channel 4, and that came just at the time when I didn't know what I was doing, like with the music.
Just when you needed it, right?
Just when I needed it, exactly. It was like heaven sent in a way. And I got to do that, and of course that opens your eyes to like, I don't always have to do this just because I began doing this, but just because I started with this doesn't have to be the only thing I do for my entire life. So it was kind of like a eye opener in that way, for me to know that I have more possibilities than just like trying to write the best bar of my life. So yeah, that actually came just at the right time. And I wish more people that like eye-opening experience in whatever it is, that we don't always have to like kill ourselves like this just to get that, the best of the best, or the best song ever, my best song this far, because sometimes you don't have the inspiration for that at the time, and you can't force it.
Yeah, it's always nice to go out and try new things, new creative outlets. On that note, are you working on new music? And if so, what can you share?
Yeah, actually, I was in a play in Gothenburg in 2019, and I think it was 2020. It's 2021 now. So yeah, 2020. I was in a play in Gothenburg, and I kind of like, just before I left for Gothenburg, I kind of like connected with two producers here in Stockholm, and we started making like a song, and we actually did the whole song in one night. So when I left to Gothenburg, I had all this like, new energy, and I was so like pumped about, oh my God, I made a song. After 3 years, I was able to make a song after I had released my album, because I felt like there's nothing, what do I talk about now, when I've talked about my loss, when I talked about all my like my love life, what is there more to talk about now? So sometimes I really believe that you have to live it to speak about it, so you can't just always be writing about the same stuff, or you can do that, but I didn't want to do that. So 2-3 years later, after the album, I just felt like this was a new beginning with music, and I had something new, fresh to talk about. And we did that song, and then I was like, what's it called when you go between, like with the train, I was going between,
just traveling back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth between Gothenburg and Stockholm to like make more songs. So we actually made like 8 songs that are just like sitting waiting in my phone right now, and have like small details that we have to do, but then COVID came, and of course, as an artist, you also want to have, you're always waiting for the right like timing for everything. And after all these years, I've understood that there's never really the right time, but you have like a sense of, I've worked hard for this. I want people to hear it. I want as many people as possible to hear it, and I want to be able to, like, I had a vision of releasing the song during like a concert that I was doing. So I wanted to like make a concept of it, and that wasn't possible at the time when COVID came. So it was put on hold, and those guys actually started working with like a more established artist, and I understand, because they have to get the bread for themselves. And for me, the like the acting took a bigger part like in my life at the time. But also I think just like the only thing I'm waiting for, I think, is the right time. And I want to be able to do everything that comes with releasing songs. Like, I want to be able to be out performing. And right now I'm at home with my child. So right now, if I, maybe I don't know when the right time is, but I know that this isn't it. So yeah, that's the update.
Hopefully, like maybe we're thinking later this year, 2022 at some point, because as you mentioned, I guess is the lockdown restrictions might slowly be easing where you are. But thematically, like, what have you kind of been inspired by that this new music holds with it?
Actually, like now when I just thought about it now, it all kind of makes sense. But I started moving towards more of like a cinematic way of telling stuff. I started writing in a way of like it was a movie. And I don't think I really thought about it in the moment, but now when we're talking about it, I'm just realizing it.
There's a concept, as you kind of mentioned to it.
Yeah, exactly. I was really into like the not the Wild West, but kind of like Zorro, and that like kind of music, like guitar, and a bit like romantic. I'm thinking like Spain, I'm thinking red wine, I was thinking like sunsets, and we have a song called the first song we made, actually the first one we did was called Miami Vice. So I had like I was thinking like a Cadillac in like a pastel color, maybe a blue pastel color. in this driving in the sunset by the beach. And for each and every song, it was kind of like I had the scene in my mind before I had the lyrics. So that helped me so much to have like a picture in front of me in my head, or like seeing maybe something in a movie or like a Pinterest picture or whatever, that like it gives you a feeling. And that this time around I was able to like write about that feeling that you get when you see something that, you know, sometimes you see like you can see the sky and it makes you feel a type of way, like nostalgic in a way, you know. And I for myself, I think I was able to capture the feeling I was feeling, because it can be such like, you know, sometimes we get so like, in Swedish we call it flummig. That means like when you're questioning like everything and the universe, and you know, you're like just your thoughts are everywhere. And this was like the first time I actually for myself thought that no, I actually pinpointed this feeling. Now it's not so abstract, it's actually just this is it. So I think that was the new things I was writing, I am writing about. It has a bit of like a cinematic theme throughout. Yeah,
it's nice to have that visual reference point, because then you can kind of go off it. And as you mentioned, like you're always evolving as an artist, and you mentioned your child, you and your girlfriend Nicole had a beautiful baby boy Nicholas in March. How has motherhood been treating you both?
You know, actually he's like, all children are kind, but I think he's like the kindest child ever, because he lets us sleep, he lets us be, he's just chilling with us. If we're having like a cozy night watching like a something on the TV, he just sits there with us, you know. And other than that, all the chillness, you know, having a child also puts everything at its edge in a way, you know. I began so many processes in myself now. You know, you grow up and you find a way to survive daily life in a way. You know, I also grew up gay in a Kurdish household, and my whole life has been about just being under the radar, you know. Don't make a fuss, don't make a sound, just be, you know. And I don't know if people can relate to this, maybe if it sounds flummig as I said before, but having a child puts all that like aside, and all of a sudden you have to take the fights, you know. You have to be able to stand up not only for yourself but also for this child's future, because maybe he's a kid now and he doesn't understand some comments or some like jokes, but he will, if he grows up with this, that will become the normal for him. So we've been so like, you know, going back and forth between us also, you know. Having a child in a relationship is also such a new thing, and you see each other in a new light, and that can also be really, you know, hard for the relationship. And we were lucky that we had like discussed our thoughts on parenthood, our thoughts on how we want to bring him up before we had him. So we're in the same lane, but we have different backgrounds, you know. She has always been, what's it called, brave enough to take the fights in her life, and I've always just like ran from them because I don't want to be seen. Don't you know, I'm not here. Just let me be. And now all of a sudden I'm having to take the fights. So, you know, you grow up in more ways than just like taking responsibility and changing the diapers and, you know, being up at 6 a.m. Those things are like, when I compare them to actually having to change your mindset, changing the patterns that you live by, that's nothing. I'll go up at 4 a.m. if you want. That's nothing. But, you know, having to take this perspective of having to do stuff for someone else than yourself, it gives you, it just shines a new light on stuff. And I think that has been the most challenging part actually of parenthood, realizing your own like demons and facing them, and having to do it while he's here, I would say is a scary thing, because you don't want to traumatize a child, because I know myself what that can be like. And I saw like a meme on Instagram it was like two parents and a baby in a stroller, and the parents were like pointing at each other saying, "You go to therapy," and the other one was saying, "No, you go to therapy." And the child in the stroller had like a bubble that said, "I will be the one going to therapy." And that just really hit home for me, because I just don't want that to be my reality or my child's reality. But other than all these like big life-changing things, I enjoy being a mother so much. It has been such like a beautiful time of realizing what this love that everyone talks about is, and it's a different kind of love than everything and anything else. I love my girlfriend in a way, but the love you have for your child is just I don't know, it feels like I've been like touched by God. That's how it feels. And nothing is really just the moment. And it's also cliche, all the cliches are true. As soon as he just smiles at me, I don't care that you just puked on me. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that's what I can say about it right now, and I'm learning as I go, and we both are, but I think we're doing quite a good job, actually.
I'm sure you two are, and just given you two on social media, like you have such a love and trust with one another. So I think
Yeah,
that just folds beautifully into having a
yeah.
child if you thought this was the right time, and you'll continue
Yeah,
to grow and learn as Nicholas grows older, and just
yeah,
that perspective, right? It's so
yeah,
important and it's eye-opening, and now you two are
yeah,
parents, so
yeah.
it's a
It's
lovely
crazy.
thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Let's talk about Young Royals and
Yeah,
Rosh. Young
yeah,
Royals on Netflix. Obviously, I
yeah,
think everyone who's watching this interview has seen the show already, but just
yeah,
a spoiler warning, we will be discussing the events of
yeah,
season 1. So finish
yeah.
up before you continue. What can
Exactly.
you share about your audition process?
Actually, I got the audition during the summer of like the year we were gonna record the series, and I think the first was I came to the place that we were doing the casting, and the person casting I had met her before for another, like a different thing I had done, and so that was kind of like my first feeling was that oh, okay, nice, it's someone I know, good. And at that time, I don't think, because I went to two castings for it, and the first one, it was Omar, and actually I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I will say it because it was a different guy. It wasn't Inti, and we tried doing like the part, and we just had such a, like a connection. We were having fun with it, and the second time around I came and I realized me and Omar was still there, but this other guy was a different guy, and that was actually Inti. So it was us three, and we were doing like the same scene as we had done before, and it just clicked. It was like I was sitting with like my siblings having a laugh. And I think because if I remember it right, Rojda was at the casting, or was that the first one? I don't know, I'm mixing it up, but despite that, we had such like a good time. It didn't even feel like we were doing something that we were supposed to be nervous about. And I had learned earlier in the process that they hadn't actually casted anyone else for Rosh. So that made me feel kind of like confident in my role. And I just felt like, yeah, I have this. Of course I have this, because honestly, I am Rosh in a way, and in my friendship, the friendships I have been that, and it feels like you also know Rosh, and Ayub, and Simon. So it made sense, and from that part, from the audition going forward, it was just such a like we had fun. We had so much fun, and I'm not even like, sometimes when you get out of a situation you only see the good things, but this was like, it was fun throughout. So yeah, that was like the audition. part of it. We went 2 times, and then I think it was a done deal.
I love that they said that you are Rosh, like,
Yeah.
because I think any time that you just see yourself in your character, it's the right
Yeah.
fit, and you don't
Yeah.
have to kind of go out of your way to play a part that you're
No,
not.
exactly. But sometimes, because some parts of Rosh was also like challenging for me to do, because sometimes there's it's called typecasting, that they cast you for a role that you look, you have a way, and yeah, you understand. And this was actually many things that I wasn't, playing soccer, being like a gaming nerd,
A gamer, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like, I like gaming, but I've never really done it. It hasn't been something I do with my friends. So it was nice to play like the earlier things I've done. I've always had to be like this hard, cool girl in a way, from the projects, and this time around I could be like kind, and I could be compassionate, and I was a good supportive friend. It wasn't about me like being scary, or like being the tough one. So that was actually it wasn't really a challenge, I would say, because I would consider myself quite nice and kind. But it was just a good experience for me to have that.
So Rosh is from Bierstadt, which is seen as a modest town. Everybody knows everybody, but they are looked down upon by some at Halerska. They're labeled as socialists. And I thought that this class and social structure was really interesting. So what were your thoughts on how it was portrayed?
I think it was portrayed in a quite a fair way. I've never actually been to a like private school in that way, but we have them in Sweden. We have those kinds of schools, and I think it's, the discussion is really is a hot topic right now about these no-go zones, that they're called here in Sweden, and the discussion about you're shining all this light on the projects, but you're also missing everything that is happening amongst the rich and amongst like the privileged. Because I'm thinking, like, I don't know if it's like a parental perspective that I have now, but I think a lot about children of parents that are away for work, that are like never home. Maybe they've grown up with like a nanny or like a help at home, and they're missing out on that like affection that you can see. Because myself, I grew up in a household where we have like three rooms where we sleep, and we're like 7 people, so we're always in each other's business, and you're never really alone, even if you're having like the suckiest day or like the worst day. When you come home, there's going to be like some annoying sibling. One of them is going to be at home annoying you, and even if it's hard in that moment, that's an affection, that's affection, that's love in a way. And I'm thinking, not having that, of course you're going to want to numb that in some way. You're going to be attracted to some like destructive things. And I feel like it's like it's not a question of maybe, I don't know if it's a question about the rich or the poor, but I just know that shining all the light on one place makes you miss a lot in the other. And you can see that following the rich kids of the school, that they're having so many problems of their own. And it's, in the end, it's never about how much money you have in your bank account. It's a young person going through life. There's going to be it's going to be hiccups along the way, and doesn't matter what class you are in, so that has been that's how I've thought about it. But I think it's a fair portrayal of class differences. They exist, and yeah, I think that's what I can say about it.
I think that is such an interesting perspective, because while the economic, differences will always play a factor, what you mentioned, like, I do think a large part of it is your upbringing and having that space to think and then having that affection, it's so relevant, and it can really carry on when as you grow older, especially as a teenager, as these characters are. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. I think it's important. So thank you for the question. It's a great question.
So there are so many amazing women behind the scene, you know, Lisa
Yeah.
and the writing team, Rosha and Erica as the
Yeah.
directors. Tell me about working with this crew and being
Wow.
able to
Yeah.
help them share their ideas.
Yeah. You know, the fun part about having two directors for a series was getting to know their way of working. So I remember with Roja, it was a lot like, you know, what would you say in this if you were in this situation for real? Like if you were sitting with your friends and this had just happened to them, what would be your advice? What would you say? And based off of that, we went off script, you know, and we were just like being in the moment and actually giving the advice that we would give. You know, don't why should you be punished for something they've done? You know, I think you should stay there. We would love you. We would love for you to come and be with us. It's not about that, but you know, don't fold. And that was like genuine things we were saying to each other as friends. And she was able to catch that in such a good way. And working with Erica, it was like she just knew what to say before we started recording for it to be, you know, crispy in a way. It just, you know, fell in place in a way. And when I think back to the time, I don't remember her being like, she would say less, but it would kind of like fall in place, you know? So they had two different ways of working. And, you know, it's called, in Swedish, I think it's called viskregi. That when you whisper something to one character, like do this, try doing this, and they don't say it to the other ones. In the scene to see what kind of reaction that brings. And we actually worked a little bit with that kind of directing also. And I think it was when I had the idea for the pizza slice, when I took the pizza slice from Simon. That was actually something we talked about a little. What could you do to like, you're still mad at him, but but you're friends, you know, you don't want to have a like awkward situation. So what can I do? So I just said maybe I could rip the pizza out of his hand, you know. She was like, yeah, that's good, try that, you know. So obviously after doing it once, it wasn't a secret anymore. Everyone knew that I was going to do it. But just that one time gave like a feeling to the room that we were actually like friends messing around. We were mad at him, but okay, whatever, you know, let's let that go now. So yeah, and Lisa, actually I didn't meet Lisa as much as you would think. We actually met a lot more.
I know that she was only on set for one day. So you might have not even been on set that one day.
Exactly. I don't think I was. And I got to meet her like after everything, when we were having like a release party. And that's when we met and we were talking. And that's actually when I learned that Rosh and Ayub were based on true like people that exist. So that was cool, like having to like, you know, pick her brain a little bit and just hear her like what were the thoughts when you were like describing or writing these characters, and being based on like true people. That's quite interesting, you know. And she I think felt that we did a good job with that. So it's been an awesome experience working with them.
Do you know who you were based off of? Was it like people that they spoke with?
Yeah. No, I think actually we were portraying two of like some of our characteristics were from two of Lisa's high school friends when she went to high school. Yeah, if I remember right. Yeah. So that's what she told me.
That's great. And then, you know, you're like having the honor of bringing like a real person to life and taking those characteristics.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene to be a part of and why?
Ooh. I'm thinking about two scenes, and I'm thinking the pizza scene, because we had such a fun time like making fun of Simon and, you know, laughing between sets about the things that we had said with the Kim K thing, and you know, the pizza slice, and all these like different moments of the scene. But then also my attention goes to the game that I played, because it was, maybe that was my favorite day, like if I'm thinking about what was happening behind the scenes, because we had the real soccer team come out, that were like a great soccer team, and I was so like intimidated. I was like, oh my god, I do not how to kick a ball. How do I do this? And they were like, professionals. So I was kind of scared of them. So I just went full clown and just tried to make them laugh, to just please don't give any attention to how I play soccer, but laugh at me. So we were having a great time on the pitch, and I didn't actually get to spend so much time with Simon and Wilhelm and Ayub during the filming of that, because it was such a big pitch, and it was like the details and the team and everything had to like make sense. But it was a fun day filming, I remember. Yeah,
you got to show off some dance moves on the field there.
Yeah, exactly.
So when they were yelling "Go Rosh," could you hear that at all, or were those two kind of separate shots?
No, I could hear that. That was for real. Yeah, that was for real. And I think the dance move, speaking of it, was also like a whisper thing that Rosh said. That's like, can't you do like a cool, because first I think it was meant to be like that I had made a goal, and then I was gonna like have a celebratory dance, but I didn't make the goal. So instead I just like did it to make them laugh when they were watching me. And that was also like one of those things that I could just improvise myself and try to, be a little fun. And yeah, that was my go-to dance move, I guess.
I like it. And like you mentioned, like the whole point of that technique is it also elicits the right reaction. And then, you kind of just continue rolling with it because it works.
Yeah.
Now, I love that Rosh was the one to tell Simon, you're no better than him, referring to August and how Halerska has really changed, someone that they've known basically their entire life. Tell me about what Rosh's mindset was and why she felt the need to speak up and intervene.
I think it's always hard to be that one in a friend group, to be the one that like gives the tough love, but it was so unlike Simon to do the things that he was doing, and it just felt like he was spiraling down a really like bad path. And I think it was kind of like her mindset was, it's not, I have to say this, it's now or never, and I wanted him to know that we were disappointed in the actions he was taking, and also like a disappointment in bringing us as like, why would you bring us into this? This is not us. This is not what we do. We're not like crooks in this story, And yeah, I think that was her mindset, just like being a bit disappointed, and I have to let you know that before it like goes out of hand.
So watching that scene with Omar and Malte during that confrontation, what do you remember from filming that night?
Oh my God, the fight scene when he like pushed him down. I remember it was such a cold night that we were filming this, and we were just trying to stay warm, and we actually had like these warming pads inside of our like the pockets that we had. So the being like, when you're in shock, sometimes you go like pale, you don't understand what's going on. And because it was so freezing, that was already our like, our expression.
You already look pale.
Yeah, exactly. So that came kind of natural. But I remember the because they had choreographed the fight scene, because you can't just go, you can't just improvise fighting, because it's a safety question. So we had seen the choreography for it before, in like we were in like a gymnastic hall, where they had like soft mattresses and stuff. but then actually seeing it come to life, that was such a cool thing, you know, because it was so controlled, but at the same time it felt like this is going to help, you know, they're actually beating each other. And that was so cool to just see that as a, like, when we were, because when they were filming only that, we were able to watch that. And I just thought it was cool to see it come to life in that way. So yeah, that's what I remember from that day.
Yeah, it was so intense. Now, this would
Yeah.
have happened off camera, but take me through Rosh and Ayub's conversation and why they felt the need to come back and support Simon after the video leak.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, in the end, it comes down to like being there, and whatever someone is going through, or bad decisions they're making, my like private mindset, not only as Rosh, but as like Beri, is that if you take such a like a distance from someone, they won't, if they're in trouble, they will never come to you and say that. So rather me kind of being the one stepping forward and coming back, just so you have the support if you would need it, that makes more sense to me than like going, like, you know, having the silent treatment with someone and just like, yeah, no, I'm mad at you, you know, I don't want to talk to you, because so many things could be happening in that person's life or in that person's mind, or whatever, that you're actually harming them more by just cutting them off in that way. Of course, if it's hurting you, then of course you have to cut some people off, but in this particular like situation, he was being bullied by the entire Sweden, you know. So it just felt right, I think, for us to, we didn't even hesitate to actually showing up and supporting him. Yeah, and I think it was really quickly, we went back to just being us, you know, just us three again. And I think that was like a feel good moment.
Yeah, it was, because as you mentioned, like the whole space thing, like it was important that they stepped back when they knew that they were just going to be mad, but then they saw what was happening and they had to come back.
Yeah.
And it was really funny seeing them come back, where he rips open his blinds and then they look at each other and they're like, it's us.
What? Yeah. Why are you mad? Yeah, we actually got scared so many times because we couldn't see what was going on behind the window. So we were standing on the other side of it, and we just heard through the walkie-talkies that action. And when they said action, sometimes he wouldn't really do it on the second that they said action. Sometimes it would go like, you know, we didn't know when he was going to do it. All of a sudden, his face was just in the window. So we actually got scared like 2 times, 3 times. We were scared, but it was a fun scene filming.
I just realized, because it is alarming. Like it's basically like someone popping out and then he's screaming at you.
Yeah, because the first time when they said action, I thought that he was going to do it when they say action. So I was expecting that. But then he came a little later, and he came as a shock, you know. So I was just, you know, yeah, I was scared.
So you, Omar, and Inti, tell me, like, did you spend any additional time together during production or pre-production to kind of build that friendship and camaraderie?
We didn't really get to do that because I was, let me think now. Yeah, my girlfriend was pregnant at the time. So a lot of my time was, you know, I was at home, or she was nauseous or something. And because it had been such like it had been like a weird summer. So I was spending a lot of time with my family, you know, and stuff like that. And I remember that fall being the fall that we actually came out to our parents and telling that we're having a baby. So it was a lot more going on privately, but when we were doing the auditions, after the auditions, I think we went to get like grab a coffee or stuff, and we talked a little bit about each other's like careers and what we had done before, if this was like the first time auditioning and how does it feel. And me and we had actually never met in any other situation, despite us all being like in the music industry. We actually hadn't crossed paths, so we were really getting to know each other from scratch. But then when it came to filming, you know, we had gone through like we have contact on Instagram, and like, oh my god, we're so excited. And every day, like when we were on set, we had so much like waiting time, so we were just in like a sofa in the chilling room and just, you know, talking, playing music. They did karaoke, and we had a fun time. It was almost like as a party, because we were so tired at the end of the days. So we would just cut all the lights off, put the phone on speaker, and just have like a party. And you always had someone sleeping in the corner because we were tired. But I think somehow, even though we didn't have that time before to get to know each other, it all just kind of like was natural anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that you three had such a natural connection, like especially because, with friend groups, you can go through those rough patches, and it was kind of
Yeah.
portrayed really well in the show. And yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna mention all three of you are musicians, which is a nice connection.
Yeah, I know. We actually said, oh my God, all of us are kind of like in the music industry. That's so crazy because Malte was also like making some music, and we were talking about that, and it was just such a cool like match.
There
So
are
yeah.
so many musically talented cast members. Like we spoke with a lot of people also either like sing or do some dabbling with music. You mentioned
Yeah.
Malte,
Yeah.
Zhao, like even Nikita,
Yeah.
Felicia, they all sing. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like how many.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, where's the standalone music episode? I keep
Yeah.
asking people.
Exactly. Maybe season 2.
So which was your favorite scene as a viewer and why?
I think I'm just gonna say the scene that everyone has said probably, but I really enjoyed, in the terms of like actually dissecting someone's work and talent. I really enjoyed okay, it's 2 scenes. Once again, I can't make up my mind. The one where August and Wilhelm were screaming to like release the tension of just being kids. And then the second one, of course, the one on the football field with Wilhelm. I think it was awesome to watch, actually, because we didn't, during filming, you don't really read through the whole, you do read through like the episodes, that so you understand what's going on in your episode, but some episodes we weren't a part of, and so we didn't read the script for them. So actually watching them as a viewer, for me, that was the first time for me seeing that. Also, I didn't know about it. So it was a cool like moment, as like me still trying to learn the ways of acting and people's talents. It was a cool moment in acting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the actors did such great jobs with those scenes, the directors, and kind of seeing it come together, especially just the release of emotions that these characters had. Now, I know that Rosh was on the motorbike. Was that actually you on the motorbike?
It was us. It was one shot when it wasn't us, and that was when we were giving Wilhelm and Simon a ride, because that was considered too much of a safety risk. That
it's
it
like
was
a stunt, right?
Yeah, it's a stunt. So we had stunt doubles come in and drive them. But all the other scenes were us, when it was only us on the motorbikes. And yeah, I had really fun on the motorbike. I actually kind of lied and said that I had more experience on a motorbike than I did, because I really wanted to drive it. And then when they handed me the motorbike, it was so heavy, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to crash. This is the part where this goes
more than
wrong.
I signed up for. You were like,
yeah. Yeah, but it went so well. It was smooth riding, and it was nice. And they had a great instructor that was like telling us, this is the brake, this is the gas, don't like, please don't fuck up.
So now that you have had that experience, hopefully you'll get to go back on the bike in season 2.
Yeah, I was like, should I get a bike? Maybe that's the right thing for me.
You need to practice.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, now I have the experience now. So next time I say I do have experience, I'm not lying. So that's good.
So season 2 renewal, it was such exciting news. What were your thoughts when you first heard it? And have you already started thinking about what you might like to see from Rosh?
Yeah, I was thinking for myself, because we didn't get any like confirmation during the time before. They actually confirmed that it was happening. Only I think it was only the main cast that actually got the like, we're doing a little promo for the season 2. So we didn't know about it, but I was thinking all along, we were all talking about it, and my friends, my friend group, my family were like, they have to renew it, because this has been like, it was on the top list so long, and it would be so weird to like have something peak like that and just leaving it, you know. So we were all like, the only thing that makes sense is that they give it a season 2. And then when I saw when I got the confirmation for it, I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I wasn't even shocked. But it was such a you start going back to like, oh my God, what am I going to do this time? What is going to happen? You know, who's going to be with who? And we've seen such like fun fan art and fan like, what's it called when you have when they're
like theories.
Yeah, theories, exactly, about who's gonna like date who and who's gonna be with who and what will happen. And I think and hope, like, as a writer, you probably take some, you know, inspiration from that, and you see what people are wanting to see. So maybe some of those theories actually happen. We'll see.
And those theories being
those theories being, well, I've seen a little bit about me me being with, I don't know if it was Felice.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, that was the theory, that we were like an item, and then it was also me and, no, I think I've only seen Felice, actually. That's like the only thing I've seen circulating the internet. Yeah, I think that's it. But I've seen, like, you see theories about like the other cast, and like maybe what will happen if he becomes prince and actually is like the head of the country. What will happen? Will he be able to still go to school, or how will that situation be with Simon? And yeah, those kind of theories.
Yeah, it's interesting to read into those. We spoke with Lisa, and she did mention that they already had what they wanted prior to even filming season 1, just in terms of like conceptualizing. So I'm sure they have some tricks and good storylines up in the writer's room that will filter down. But it's really exciting, I think, probably for all of you, just to think about, what juicy kind of ideas could be in there.
Yeah, and like, most of all, like, getting to hang out again in like a more like free environment this time, I'm hoping. And yeah, really excited about it, the time coming.
Are there any specific actors or characters who you might like to share more scenes with? Because in season 1, it was mostly with Omar, Inti, and then you did get to see Malte and Edvin, but kind of brief scenes there. Yeah,
exactly. I think it will be, I've thought about it, and I think it would be just like a cool thing to happen if we would mix in a way with the students at the school. Whoever it is, but it would be fun, like, working a bit more with Malte and Edvin, and of course the rest of the cast. But I've just thought about it, like, when I thought about season 2, it felt like it would be so cool to like let these worlds meet in a way. So I was thinking, maybe if they have like a prom or something, and we just come and crash it, that would be cool,
like Maryburg students might do.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I think maybe not specifically like this person, but just the two worlds, meeting. That would be cool.
Are you a fan of a Wilhelm and Simon happy ending? Like, what were your thoughts based on how it left off in season 1?
It was heartbreaking. And I am a big fan of a happy ending for them. But I'm also a fan of cliffhangers. So I think this was like the perfect way to end things, and I have no idea where they're gonna pick it up. But I love all love, and I'm hoping for a happy ending. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think it's just like the journey that they've gone through, and like it doesn't want to feel like a perfect love story, like nothing is. So it's good
Yeah.
that we are getting to see them kind of experience it as they grow up, even
Yeah.
though not that much time has passed, but they are still teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a realistic way of portraying it. Yeah.
The fans of the show are so passionate and supportive. You've mentioned seeing a lot of stuff online. So what have been some
Yeah.
memorable things, and what's that support meant to you?
I don't have Twitter, and I have a friend that has Twitter that was sending me like screenshots of what people were writing about on Twitter, and they had discovered that that I have a girlfriend and a baby, and I was all of a sudden I was like the lesbian queen of the world. And they had a whole thread on it, and oh my god, does she have a baby? That's so cute. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. Wow, 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 at such a young age. Oh my god. And that was like, it was so weird because yeah, I have the picture out for everyone to see. It's not a secret, but kind of like cool because I thought about myself as like a 14-year-old 15-year-old that didn't have like anyone that looked like me, that was actually, that had that, just a normal life, a normal family. The shows that the LGBTQ shows that were when I was growing up, it was kind of, everything was like it wasn't realistic in the end. And me being the realistic example for someone is just like, it's overwhelming sometimes to think about it, but also like such a gift and such a blessing to be in that position, and being able to show that we're just a normal family, and we're just existing. And I think we have to exist for other people to exist also. And just seeing that, I think it gives people hope in a way, because yeah, it's 2021, but still a lot of hasn't changed. So yeah, that's the most memorable, like, of things going around the internet. It was when they discovered that I had a family. That was like the most like stand outish for me.
Yeah, I think I saw that tweet or that thread, and it was so sweet. And I think it's important that
Yeah.
people see this representation because it exists, and now they'll be
Yeah.
looking at you and going like, I can have a family, and I can
Yeah.
be on the an LGBTQ, and I can be an ally and just be proud of
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. So yeah, that's really, it's a big thing for me.
Now, you and Inti were on a virtual call with some Brazilian fans, I think back in
Yeah.
July. So how did that come
Yeah.
about, and what was that
Oh my god,
interaction like?
the support from Brazil has been crazy. Like, they have the they're so like engaged, and it's so cool to me. Like, they were like, it wasn't even like, you have this source that you come to and you can interview us, and you have like everything you need for that probably. But these were like just normal youth, young people coming together, making these interviews and calls happen with us. And they had these questions written down. They had like a host that was like interviewing us, and all of them didn't even know, weren't able to speak English. So they had like someone also, what's it called, translating. Yeah. And it was just such a like a fun, cool, down to earth experience. It was just beautiful to see that when you're passionate about something, you make it happen. Even if you're across the other side of the world from me, you made it happen. And it was cool that they had like put aside that time for us, to people here in Sweden. So it was cool. It was so cool.
And it's that persistence, right? That gets it done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, it's still, still they're DMing, they're like, still like sending pictures, or the new thing now is complete the heart. So they're sending like screenshot. They draw like half a heart, and they send the screenshot to you, and you're supposed to complete it. And I did that like with 2 people, and they went batshit crazy. That was like, it was like, yeah, I felt like I was God.
Yeah, like you made their entire month, maybe their
Yeah.
entire year by
Yeah.
by completing the heart, right?
Yeah, just drawing like a line.
anything you can do, right? It's just like giving back to people who have given so much of their time and love to the show.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, I dedicated a lot of like a few hours to going through DMs and answering because I thought that these are the people that make it possible. And it's not just something we say, because it wouldn't be a show if people weren't going to watch it. And the support from the fans have been, I think, what has like led to a season 2, and for us to be able to work with this though. And yeah, I just think giving back is such a huge part of it, and like staying like grounded in a way. Yeah, that plays a big part of it.
You know, it would be fun, like a Young Royals convention or even a virtual convention in the future.
Yeah,
I'm
that would
thinking
be
like
cool.
if this show grows, it's only going to be a higher possibility of happening.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that would be so cool.
So now we are going to go through some tweets on
Yeah,
Twitter that I
yeah.
sent you. So I will pass the mic to you. You can read them out loud one by one,
Okay.
and then we'll like talk about give your thoughts on it on these tweets.
Okay. First one. Okay. Ayub and Rosh act like an old married couple, especially Rosh, the mom of the group, while Simon is their idiot son that they need to keep an eye on. Yeah, this is kind of the dynamic that we have. This is, yeah, I should like this or something, and I like it even if I don't have an account. That would be cool.
Probably
but no,
not.
this is no. This is kind of the dynamic. Yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, they're right.
I know, it's so accurate. I read that and I was like, did they have the character descriptions behind the scenes?
Because this is it. This is it. Okay, next one. Let's see here. Everyone else who has young royals related dreams are always like, oh, I met Edwin and Omar or whatever. But I literally dreamt that Rosh and Ayub showed me around the school when I was nervous about starting a new school. I feel like that says a lot about me. This is so sweet. Wow, it's so crazy seeing like the characters we played are like, people are dreaming about us. That's so
I know people
cool.
want good friends, right? I think that's it.
Yeah, it's good. I'm so thankful that we weren't like douchebags in this series, because I feel like, yeah, I've seen the other tweets about someone else. I won't mention names.
August.
Yeah.
I think Malte's actually embraced it though, so that's what you kind of have to do. Like he does play the part so well, but then at the same token, like you mentioned your past characters, right? It's nice to play someone who people can relate to.
Exactly. Okay, let me see here. Rosh and Ayub cuddling with Simon to comfort him. Imagine the three of them hanging out during Christmas break, and Villa comes up in the conversation and they ask, how are you feeling? And Simon is like pretending to be strong and put together, and he says fine, but the crack in his voice betrays him, and he tries so hard to choke back the tears, but he's not exactly successful. Rosh brings him into a hug and he just falls apart in her arms. Ayub joins in after he comes back into the room without question, because there's no need to ask what happened. But it's not over. Simon ends up falling asleep, and Rosh kisses his forehead and tucks the blanket around him a little tighter. This is like, I would love if this was a real like scene. This would make so much sense for us. Wow. Because we were so like cuddly and huggy, me and Omar in between sets, that this would actually not be so weird. This will be just it.
Out of place. It feels like it could fit.
No. Yeah, it would fit. Let's make this happen.
So was there ever a scene where Simon had told Rosh and Ayub about his feelings for Wilhelm? Or if you can't say, like, what do you have liked to portray a scene like that? I'm sure it would have been something.
It would be something like that. I think we just knew, because we knew him, that when he says that it's in a way like he wrote me, or like he hasn't answered or whatever, we just knew him that well, that we understood that it affected him in some way. And, we were like the first ones to say that, ooh, Wilhelm, So we were like, we knew that it was more to it than he was saying. Yeah, but I think that would be like how it would have played out if it was like that.
That's a good analysis. And then I love when Ayub's the one who goes like, oh, you have a thing for him, when they're just standing along the sidelines. It must have been fun to kind of, because you weren't close to them in that moment, but watching that scene actually happen on TV.
Yeah, because I knew what scene, I knew what they were saying, but seeing them laugh in between and everything, that just, it also like brings the group more together in a way that we're actually like friends messing with each other, and I know what you're saying, and it was really fun.
So we won't go through the fourth one. I mean, you can read it, because it is kind of what we talked about. It would be nice to kind of see that flashback scene. But are you going to join Twitter now that you've seen all these nice?
Yeah, when I see this, let me just see here. Can we get a flashback instance to where they show Simon telling Ayub how he's feeling for? Oh yeah. I think they should do like a recap. That would make sense. Yeah, that would be good. But I've thought about.
Twitter's a tricky one. It's it's a lot.
It's because I think, honestly, I'm in my phone all the time, and it does become a problem sometimes, and I'm just trying to be more social, like with people that are actually here and
present with the baby.
With the baby, first and foremost, and having another app that I'm gonna be like always scrolling, always like finding something funny, I'm just worried I will be hooked. That's the thing. But I've thought about it, and I think it's a great way to like connect. I've had Twitter before, but I deleted it a long time ago. And at that time, Twitter was like, I would say I was quite funny on Twitter. I would write like funny things, and sometimes quotes and stuff. But maybe, I'm not saying never, but maybe I'm just trying not to be like addicted to screens,
Maybe make it a season 2 goal, something like that.
Maybe we can put it like that. That feels like I'm not saying never, I'm saying just in the future.
And until
maybe
then,
when we hang
you're
out
on
here,
Instagram.
I will get Twitter.
You're like, I feel inspired, let's go do that. But I think it's nice to create that separation and distance, because it is a lot of noise, and you do want to focus on what's important in your life. But it's always nice to interact with people. So hopefully down the road.
Of course. Especially people that appreciate it so much. So for sure.
As we get close to wrapping things up, you are so busy because you've also done modeling in the past for Bjorn Borg, Julie Riordan, publications like The Forumist and Guava. So what do you enjoy about this form of art?
I feel like, modeling, I'm not like a typical model either. And the agency I'm signed to has like that way of thinking that we're not looking for the tallest, they don't have like a mold for like, this is what a model looks like. More like it was capturing, like they won't have people in the agency that like can capture a mood or capture like a realistic scene. And doing these different shoots, I think it's kind of acting. Like modeling is acting, because you want to, maybe in a like when we were doing Björn Borg, we were trying to like catch the essence of the song that was going to be released with it, and the album that was going to be released. And that's acting, having a way of to like look at the camera or look at each other, or like standing, that's acting. So I think it's a cool way of expressing yourself, and I think music and acting and modeling, it's all kind of in the same, it's on like the same side of things in the creative, if you think about like creative bubble. So I like when things make me nervous. I like when things make me feel like it's the first time I'm doing them, because we've actually talked about it a lot, me and my girlfriend, the word amateur. It actually means like someone who loves, and I think it's, you look down on the word so much that it becomes like a negative thing. But I would love to be amateur for the rest of my life, because that's when you're on your toes. That's when you're like wanting to learn more, and you're wanting to like educate yourself in the whatever you're like doing next. So yeah, I like when I'm a bit uncomfortable. I think that makes me evolve. Yeah.
I like it. And it's always nice, I think, to be hungry to do more creative
Yeah.
work and
Yeah.
always just keep learning, because you don't want to stay stagnant as an artist.
Exactly. I think that's the dangerous part of it, just not enjoying it anymore.
And we have our signature question for you. If you could
Yeah.
be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh my God. I would be, that's a hard question. You know, maybe this is gonna be weird. I would be like coffee flavored. Is that crazy?
No.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I love coffee. I'm a coffee person. So I'm thinking coffee flavored.
I like that answer. That's a great one to end things off on. And
Good.
not only because you might drink a lot of coffee nowadays.
Exactly. With the baby and everything.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you
good.
so much, Beri, for taking the time to chat. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Make sure to catch Beri in Young Royal. Season 1 is out on Netflix. Season 2 is coming in 2022. Hopefully new music coming soon, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you.